All right. Welcome, everyone, back to On the Line, the go-to podcast for everything Kansas kayak angling and bass fishing. I'm Tony Boyden, joined by my co-host, Tim Boyden. We got a killer show for you tonight. We're going to be recapping all the action from the Kansas Kayak Anglers Melvern tournament. That was last Saturday. So joining us today are the top three finishers, Clayton Westgate. Hey, Clayton, what's up?
How's it going?
Nice to see you again. We've got second place, which was Jay Schwartzkopf.
Howdy.
Jay, how you doing?
Oh, not too bad.
All right. And third was Daniel Maffei, and he was having a few technical difficulties, so you may see him here in a second. And our big bass winner, Ernesto Flores. There you are. How you doing, Ernesto? Oh. All right. So to start us out today, I just want to do some upcoming events, take a little bit of time here. Anybody that's interested, on April 26th, the Kansas Bass League is having a tournament at Shawnee Lake. The Sunflower Kayak Fishing Series kicks off its season opener at Leavenworth Lake on April 29th, which is a Tuesday night. And then our next KKA event is the North 75 Shootout, which includes Shawnee North Lake now, Shawnee Lake, Banner Creek, and Pony Creek. So I'm not sure if it was posted on Facebook yet, but it also, like I said, includes the Shawnee North State Lake. So we have a few other things going on at KKA. There's the monthly events that run through the month of October. There's the Big Bass Bonanza. It's not too late to be part of that. Can you hear us, Danny?
Hey guys.
There we go.
How's it going? All right, so it's not too late to get the Big Bass Bonanza. Some big bass are being caught this month, so go ahead and check that out on the website or the Facebook page. And see if I can share my screen here. Sometimes it lags a little bit. So, all right. So we updated the KK admin updated the AOI out here, and the spreadsheet, you can find it on the Kansas Kayak Anglers membership page. So we kind of made a new spreadsheet, kind of talk about some points changes. This year we kind of simplified it. First place is 100, second place 99, third place 98, etc. If you were in the tournament and you were a member, you get 15 points. If you're not a member at the time of the tournament, you do not receive any points. And they will not roll down. So if a non-member finishes before you in placement, then you will continue with the points you would have gotten. So you can come out here. What would be great for everybody to come out here and like check it out and just see if your membership dues are shown correctly. So you see your name, membership, current ranking at the top, at a little spot that automatically shows who's in the AOI lead. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, also we have rookie and club veterans. So if you're a first-time member for KKA, you're considered a rookie, which is what brings us to our next thing, announcing there's little tabs at the bottom of here, Rookie of the Year. So that's what we'll make sure your status is correct, whether it's right or wrong. And you can see here who's in first place, second place, and third place. And that'll be based off the same points as the AOI. So theoretically, you could be Angler of the Year and Rookie of the Year. And we're working on the dollar amounts, prizes, things like that for the different placements on the AOI and the ROI. And then lastly, there's now a tab out here for the Big Bass Bonanza, so you can kind of see where you're at on that. So each month, these will be updated or after a tournament, and you can go out and check it out if you want to know where you're at in the standings. So feel free to check it out, verify it's all correct. If you're a member, placement, points, things like that. So I just wanted to kind of go through that, show you the new spreadsheet we got out here. Added a little bling to it, so stop sharing that. And then I think that was about it. So just a quick question to the people on here. You guys think you're going to do any of those tournaments? Clayton, I guess I'll start with you.
I'm planning on doing the KKAs. I won't be at the Kansas Bass at Shawnee. I'll be with family at Milford, and I'm not going to be doing the Sunflower or the Big Bass Bonanza, but I'm going to try to do the Kansas Basses that I can make it to.
I'll have an opportunity then, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
if
so
I
you're saying there's a chance.
Right. Right. So there will get to be a new champion at the next Kansas Bass tournament.
Jay, how about you? Are you doing what are you doing?
I'll do KKA for sure. I'm doing the Big Bass, doing the monthlies so far. Probably, I don't know. I might make it to like one Kanza, but they're all 3 to 4 hours away. So
Yeah, a little bit of a drive.
or for an extra tournament.
Yeah. Danny, what about you?
It'll just be the regular KK events for me this year. I really don't have time to mess with the big bass stuff and all that right now. So, and the Kansas stuff is just too far away for me.
Yeah. Ernesto?
Yeah, I just plan on fishing the KK tournaments. I won't be at the one sometime down the schedule. I'll have to miss one of them for sure. And then I'm fishing the USA Bassing small fish circuit too with somebody as a non-boater.
Nice.
So out of the kayak game.
Well, thanks everybody. I hope if you have questions about any of the upcoming events, what isn't already on there, there'll be some Facebook posts and updates and things like that. So, Derek, what's up? All right. So, Tim, I'll hand it over to you.
Yep. Yeah, just a brief reintroduction of Clayton Westgate, who won the KKA and the KBN last year at Melvern, who took first this year as well in our first tournament. Daniel, you took second, correct, last year and the KKA?
Third in the KKA and second in the KBN.
Very nice. And then Ernesto, he's a new guy on here, and Jay is as well. So we're going to kind of, these first couple of questions go toward Ernesto and Jay. But Jay, let's start with you. Look, how long have you been fishing for? How did you get into fishing?
I pretty much grew up fishing. Dad, uncle, grandparents all fished, and so as long as I can remember, I've been fishing. Probably, I don't know, early teens or so, I kind of backed off and got more into mountain bikes and that kind of stuff, and then probably early 20s or so got back into fishing, I guess.
Okay, very nice. Ernesto, what about yourself?
I didn't really fish growing up, but I would say that I wanted to go, but I just never went. So the interest was there, but I really picked it up after probably like 10 years ago. I worked out at Wilson Lake, and after work, I would go fishing every day. And I had somebody that would kind of teach me how to bass fish there too, kind of show me the ins and outs. And that's how it all started, really. And then it just became kind of like a getaway when you're outside, you know. It's a good time.
Yeah, very nice. After the show, we'll go off together on the side, and you kind of tell me where you catch the bass at Wilson at. I'd appreciate that. That'd be all right.
All right.
Jay, when did you get into kayak fishing, and when did that come into the picture? Like, did you boat before and get into kayaks, or did you just go straight into kayak fishing?
I had a small flat bottom for a little while, but pretty much straight into kayaks, probably 2015 or 16.
Okay.
Got a paddle kayak then.
Straight into the tournament scene, or did you work your way up?
My first tournament in 2018.
Okay. Was that with KKA? I guess it wouldn't have been KKA. It would have been
Capital at that time.
Capital. Yeah. Okay.
Fair Capital, and then Fish Flint Hills, both.
Okay. Ernesto, what about yourself?
I banked beat for a while in my infancy when I started fishing, and then I fished out of a 10-foot ascend like canoe for like 4 years, and then I was like, man, I'm done. I need something nicer, so I bought pedals, and yeah, it's been pretty fun. The fishing, when you can fish and not have to move, it's pretty
Yeah.
convenient. So, but I got that like 2 years ago, so just been fishing on it for a year, not doing any tournaments, and then this year I just went for it.
Yeah.
Fish against you guys.
What made you jump into kayak fishing? Just like other than boater, I mean, you were doing boats, so it's like, you probably thought I'm going to beat up on these kayak guys. Then you come over and you're like, oh my.
No, no. Honestly, I got a kayak because I didn't want to register a trailer or deal with the hassle of like fixing an outboard or just equipment malfunctions that might happen when you're out on the lake. So I was like, man, a kayak's pretty sustainable, and then you can get some exercise too because you're out there pedaling. So that was my selling point for going kayak fishing instead.
Very nice. Yeah, I know when I entered my first one down at the pits, I was like, man, I'm going to show these boys how to fish. And I've been fishing for like 30 years, and I'm a really good pond fisherman, right? So I can catch fish anywhere. And I go out and I can finish like last place. I'm like, I kind of suck at this fishing thing. So it'll humble you real quick. So, all right. So what's your home lake or home body of water, Jay?
I mean, Wilson probably would be my, as far as where we go for tournaments.
Yeah.
I have Little City Lake in Great Bend, Stone Lake. I fish a lot, just an hour away from my house. Or not an hour, a mile away from my house. Wilson's about an hour.
Very nice. And we asked the other guys this last time. So what's like your PB, Smalley, and largemouth?
Smalley's like 20 and a quarter inches. I don't even have a weight on that. And 22 and a quarter for a largemouth.
Okay.
It was 6.5-ish for a largemouth saw.
Ernesto, what about yourself?
Probably I had at Wilson's, I don't know, 5 pound smallmouth. Just no real numbers to it, but it was like in 2015, 2016 when it was really going.
Oh yeah.
And then largemouth, a 6'3" from Mexico. I went fishing in Mexico last January, and that was where I caught my PB.
Very nice.
Yep.
And I know we've already discussed this last time, but Clayton, PB, Smalley, and largemouth, I don't think it's changed, but you've got some pretty nice fish this year.
Yeah, my largemouth is still 10.2 from Mexico. My smallmouth was a 582 from Lake Shawnee. I don't know the lengths on either one of them. I did get, I guess, a new length PB largemouth this year since I got to put it on a board, that a 23.5 incher from, I guess I caught one several years ago from Lacine that was 24.5, but I don't know how accurate that board was.
Yeah.
But this was on the catch board down at the Fork. So
when you pulled that fish up, did you know? I mean, did it fight? You just knew by the fight, or you just knew by when you pulled it up?
Yeah, that one I caught on a wacky rig on a spinning rod. That was like a 2-minute fight, which doesn't sound like a long time, but that's forever to fight a largemouth. But the other one I caught down there, that was the heaviest one I put on the scale in a long time, and that was 972. But it was a 1/4 inch shorter than the 8.5 pounder I caught, and that one I caught on the jig at Quitman on the day that got canceled, the first day that got canceled.
Yeah,
and that was a really short fight, and that fish actually came off as soon as it hit the net. My jig popped out of its mouth, so I got pretty lucky to get that one.
I saw you had that laugh of disbelief after like that. You're just like, I can't believe what's happening today.
That was my 4th fish of the morning, 5th fish of the morning, and I already had 20 pounds at that point, so it was pretty wild.
That's awesome. Danny, what about yourself?
Largemouth, probably 21 3/4 is the biggest largemouth I've ever caught, and Smalley 18 inches.
Very nice. And you said you actually we're going to enter the big bass, but you didn't catch a bass over 18. Was that you talking about that? And then you caught 220 inches this year or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. It always works that way. Never fails. But so Jay, is there anything that you tell somebody who's just getting started into kayak fishing or tournament fishing or joining the KKA, like, any nervousness or any advice?
Let's say if you're just getting into kayak fishing, probably spend the money and get a pedal drive. You'll like it a lot better, especially in Kansas.
Yeah.
Versus blowing around trying to paddle.
Yeah.
Tournament fishing wise, I don't know. Just if you do it, just go fishing. Don't worry about winning. Just go and go through the steps and see how it goes. As far as joining KKA, I guess I don't really know. I mean, if you're going to fish tournaments, for sure do it, but do it just to help out.
Yeah. We're trying to get some more people in. Just take that initial step. People get so nervous, meeting new people, and it's like everybody's pretty chill here, and we'll help you out if you need help. And it's a good organization. They do good work, and I don't know. It's very addictive though, and lots of money.
I'd probably add, if you're going to do tournaments and you've never done it, just signing up for at least one of the monthlies just to learn your measuring and make sure they get, accepted and all that. Helps out a lot versus just showing up to a tournament and learning all that too.
Okay. Ernesto, what about yourself? What would you tell people that are just getting in? Because you're just starting. What do you think of the whole experience since you're really new at it? Like, what do you think going into this? What's your experience?
Yeah, there's kind of it's just a lot of steps or a lot of things that you have to try to check off. Like follow the rules to the club or to the organization, and then make sure you have all your safety precautions down in your kayak that you need to be out there safely. So it's a checklist, but if you want to do competitive fishing, if you want to compete and test your abilities and stuff, this is the place to do it. So you know what I'm saying? You just got to go for it.
Yeah. What do you think of KK so far?
Man, it's been a good time, I guess. I've just had one tournament. I didn't really see anybody, so I dipped.
Yeah.
And then, where I launched out of, there was only one other person, so that's all I saw.
Yeah.
So I haven't, I don't really know. But in terms of the structure of submitting your photos and registering and PayPaling and paying your tournament dues and everything's pretty smooth. It's pretty smooth running. So
yeah, you have to come to the next ceremony and
meet everybody.
We usually give those trophies away if you don't show up, but we won't do that for you.
Yeah, I was yeah. I know I should have went, but I broke my kayak, and then I was also I don't know.
That puts a sour taste in your mouth.
Yeah, it's all right though. We got it fixed, but next time.
Yeah.
What kind of kayak did you have, Ernesto?
I just have a Old Town PDL 120 Sportsman.
Okay.
Yeah, I broke the prop on a stump. I was like, she can take it, and then it was just. And
no, she can't.
I didn't have any more maneuverability, so I was done.
Yeah, very nice. Well, Clayton, I know we asked this before, but what would you tell someone just getting into kayak fishing and joining KKA and just getting started?
I definitely agree with Jay because I had a paddle kayak and I almost quit kayak fishing because it was terrible. I hated it. It was all right when I was catfishing out of it because I would just paddle to wherever I was going, pull it up on the bank and fish. But to try to bass fish was horrible because I'd get to where I was trying to go or trying to make a cast from. I'd make a cast, and by the time I made the cast, I was already blowing and trying to paddle and reposition. It wasn't enjoyable. So, and it would have been better off if I'd have just spent the money I spent on that kayak and bought a pedal kayak to begin with. But it worked out because I ended up making money on that kayak because I bought it used, and that was a few years before COVID, and I sold it when everything was sold out during COVID and made like $300 on it. But,
Nice.
don't count on that happening if you buy one and don't like it, uh, it and your return on investment, you're not putting all the gas and all the uh, oil and having to put all the maintenance into it that you do with a boat. So you buy once, cry once. Just
Yep.
go out, test them out. A lot of us, if you ask, if you want to pedal a kayak, I've let people pedal mine around, try mine out, see what it's like. Just that's the best way to do it. You can get out there and test them out, see what it feels like to actually sit in one, because sitting in one's a lot different than what you imagine it would be if you've never done it before. I've talked to several people about KKA, especially here lately. It feels like I think this is a great group. I've done a lot of boat tournaments. I've been fishing tournaments since I was 16, which is unfortunately a long time ago at this point. But there doesn't seem to be the egos that I dealt with. That's a lot of what pushed me out of the boat tournament scene. Everybody just gets in their feelings so much about proving to the group or proving to everyone that they're the best fisherman around. And I just want to go fishing. I like the competition, but I want to go fishing. I want to see the people that I'm competing with and get to talk and hang out afterwards and have a good time. And that's just what this group is to me. It's just a group of friends is what it feels like, just going out fishing. And you're still you're trying to win. We're all trying to go out and win at the end of the day. But if you don't, nobody gets their feelings hurt. Nobody gets worked up about it. So that just makes it so much more enjoyable to me.
Yeah.
The good thing about all of us being friends is that we get to buy you new stuff, Clayton.
Yeah.
By donating our money.
I spent a lot of money trying to beat Clayton, and it hasn't worked yet. But no, I think one of the worst things is when you have a paddle kayak and you're measuring a fish and you look up and you realize you're in Nebraska from the wind, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, how did I get over here?" And
It's terrible.
40 miles offshore. But
Or you bang into a tree, or you get pushed on top of a stump or onto the rocks. It's awful.
yeah,
There's no fishing without a anchor when you're on a paddle kayak. So.
Well, Daniel, what about yourself? What would you tell people? And
I think both Jay and Clayton really probably hit the nail on the head there. The biggest thing I think is if you see somebody in a kayak, they're probably going to be friendly and helpful, And I think the kayak group, for the most part, is the most friendliest, helpful tournament anglers out there.
Yep, I would agree with that. Well, Clayton, Daniel, is there anything you want to add that we maybe forgot just on this segment here? Anything that you want to add to?
Nothing I can think of.
Okay.
Yeah, I got nothing.
All right, Tony, I'll put it in your hands.
All right. So of course, everybody wants to know about the tournament, right? So that's what we'll talk about next. Just gonna kind of go around the room and ask you about your day on the tournament on the water, and kind of starting out. What was your plan going into it, and how did you, did you pre-fish, that kind of stuff? So Clayton, we'll go to you first.
Well, I fished Kansas bass the Sunday before, and it was a pretty tough day. I think I caught 9 fish all day, and I fished the marina that day also because of the wind and the marina. I don't like fishing the marina at Melvern, but early in the year it seems to be pretty productive. So this is really the only time of year that I really ever fish the marina out there. The rest of the year, I don't even go over there. When I saw the wind forecast, I really wanted to go fish Eisenhower after Kansas bass. I went over and launched over there and fished for a couple hours, and I almost caught my total from Kansas bass in 2 hours. At Eisenhower, and I really wanted to go fish there, but I didn't think I was going to be able to do it with the wind that was forecast. So I ended up just going where I knew I would be able to try to get a full day of fishing and hoped that I would be able to get enough quality bites. I really expected it to be packed over there at the marina, and I was pretty shocked that there was only a few people that launched. And 2 of them went straight to the dam, which I don't know, from maybe it was different Saturday, but for Kansas bass, the dam was terrible. I fished part of it, and I caught a walleye. That was it. That was the only bite I had. That was one of my first casts. But I started off real fast. I had a bite one of my first casts with a jerkbait that I thought was a good fish, but it turned out to be a little dinky smallmouth that was hooked on the side on my jerkbait spiraling in. But I caught my limit by 7:30. My 17 and a half, I caught off the rocks off the side of the boat ramp. And that one was that was on Ned rig, copper truce Ned rig. One of my little just 16th ounce Ned rig heads. That's the size that I use 95% of the time. And that one I was snagged, popped it loose, and she ate it as soon as it popped loose. Cold a couple times right there. I had been catching them on a Berkeley stunner, a white Berkeley stunner jerkbait, and I'd only got 2 bites to that point. So I had another jerkbait rod with a kind of hard to tell, but it's a besotted jerkbait. It's like a
rose color,
kind of a perch. It's loud, but as soon as I started throwing that, they were eating it like crazy. But they were pretty much all small. But I did catch one of my 15 and a halves on that, and the boats got real thick in there. As soon as the wind started blowing, people started piling in. All the kayaks started showing up from other parts of the lake. I fished the back of the marina, and I couldn't get bit in the back of the marina. I saw people hanging out there a lot, but I couldn't get bit in the Kansas bass the week before back there, and I couldn't get bit Saturday back there. I thought maybe I could catch a largemouth. I've caught some big smallmouth back there early in the year, but I couldn't even get a bite back there this week. But I was just going. I fished the marina all day, the whole day. It was not exciting. Just around and around, following everybody around. But I'd fished that copper truce Ned rig the week before, and the bites kind of slowed down on that. So I switched to it's a purple hula stick, and I caught, as soon as I started with that, I caught another 15 and a half, and I caught several more fish on that one. So I guess the color change made it different to them, but the big difference was when I took that besotted jerkbait off and I put on a 110+1 in stain reaction, and that was like 12:30, and I almost skipped. It was, I guess, the kind of the northwest corner of the marina, right on one of the breaker walls. I went around a boat, and there was just a real short stretch of bank left. I almost just cut back across over to the ramp, but I went over there and fired a long cast, and I caught that 18 3/4 right there. And at that point, I was just over 80. I think I had 81 something change maybe, but still kind of, I had 114 3/4, I think, that I needed to cull out. I really just wanted I wanted 80 inches. So I was pretty happy at that point. I felt like 80 inches would probably get you in the money, but I wanted to have all over 15 inches, especially something about the boats out there and the way the boats have been in there all day. I wanted to have a 5-fish boat limit too. So I wanted to get that last 15 incher, and at 2:30, I was going back against the wind up past where all the cables are on the bank, and they really seem to be sitting on those cables. I think Mark was Pontucci was fishing those cables a lot. I saw him dragging uphill on those with something and catching some fish off of them. But I was pulling that jerk bait down, and they were suspended out on those cables where they were suspended out over deeper water. That's why I switched to that 110+1 because it was running right next to those cables. And that was it was about 2:30. I caught that 16.5 incher off of one of those cables that was hanging out over deeper water. And that was the fish that got me to 83 inches. So it was a grind all day. I caught a lot of fish. I really did. But there was just so many little fish. I don't know what the deal was with those 10 inchers, but they were mean and they were everywhere.
I caught a 12 incher. I thought it was a dang 4-pounder.
Yeah,
I was going the other direction. It was a big old fatty, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is it. And then I pull it up, it's a 12-inch smallie. I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought it was like 4 pounds.
I kept getting them side swung on the jerk bait like the first one in the morning. So they were just spinning in, or they were pulling down straight away from me, and it was really making it hard to judge how big they were.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks, Clayton. I know everybody's glad you showed us all those baits.
That's why I got them out. I mean,
Yeah.
I got them in the video too, but it's kind of hard to see them in the video sometimes. So
yeah.
And everybody will throw them next year, and you'll catch them around us again.
Yeah. Jay, we'll move on to you. Tell us a little bit about how the tournament went for you.
I drove down Friday night and pre-fished a little bit, or not Friday afternoon, I guess. I got on the water about 1:30, fished till 7. Just trying to figure out some baits that they'd bite on. I don't fish that lake often, and typically I don't really like that lake much. But ended up catching a few different baits, but didn't really have a set plan going into the tournament day. So launched at Arrow Rock and went west for a while and got a small pattern once the wind was blowing, and turned around and headed back towards the east and just kind of fishing points, and finally stumbled onto the right one and stead on one point with the wind blowing on it all day, throwing a tube basically.
Very nice. Did you actually find? Well, I found like almost any windy point had a smallmouth on it, because that's what I was using a tube as well, and that's what I caught mine on.
Yeah, I caught him on a couple, but like once I hit, there was one I caught 3 in probably the first 10 minutes that I got there, and so I just kept cycling through that one and ended up staying the last probably 2.5 hours of the day on that one spot.
Yeah.
I mean, I was pointing up to like a little secondary point, maybe 50 yards up or so. I was just cycling back through there and making laps. I caught 2 18s in the last hour.
Very nice.
Thanks. I know I caught I literally, the timestamp was 2:58 for a 17. So a smallie I caught. So I was struggling to get it on the board. I was panicking a little bit. But I called like 3 fish in the last 30 minutes or so. So I went to a different spot from the morning, and I didn't catch anything over there. I missed one. I don't know what, it could have been a drum. I don't know. But I was like, I'm going to go back to the spot I was on, and I was glad I did. So, Danny, how about you? You want to tell us about how your tournament day went in pre-fishing?
I got up there Friday late afternoon and just got a couple hours of pre-fishing in. Enough to know there were some fish over there in Turkey Creek to maybe try to go back and see what I could do. I knew the wind was probably going to run me out of there, but I thought I'd go for it anyway and hope for the best. Got over there first thing in the morning, caught a 15-incher pretty quick. And I'm thinking, I'm back up in here where there's not going to be anybody back up in here, right? I'll have it to myself, unpressured fish, right? All of a sudden, I look across the lake, and here comes a bass boat down the bank across from me. I'm like, crap. Pretty soon, they fire up. I think they're going to leave out of there. No, they head my direction. Just about that time, I caught that 18-inch fish right in front of them. And then, of course, like all good bass boat guys do, they went down the bank about 100 yards in front of me and cut in.
Oh, nice.
So I hung in there and finally picked up, and all those two fish came on a creature bait, Texas rig. And I hung in there and finally picked up one more fish on a jackhammer. And then the wind just got too brutal in there. I thought it'd be a little bit protected, but it wasn't. So finally, about 10:30, 11 o'clock, I loaded up and went to the marina and kind of just focused on the area between the boat ramp and the dam, working that area, and managed to catch a couple fish and then a couple small upgrades later throughout the day. And most of the fish over there, they were coming on a Fritz-side 5 crankbait.
Very nice. I think I seen you down by the dam there, but yeah, I'm pretty sure.
There's something a little extra special when you catch a big bass in front of a boater. I don't know what it is. I did that at one of the Cedar Bluff tournaments, and Tim was actually kind of by me at that time. And
Well, I was watching them, yeah.
the boater went right in between him and I, and I pulled out basically a 6-pounder, just shy, right in front of the boat. And they were like looking at me, trying to figure out what I was using. And then they just got like shook their head and left. So, anything else, Danny?
That was it for me.
All right, thanks. So Ernesto, I know you said that it's kind of your first tournament stuff. Kind of, did you get a pre-fish much? Did you?
Yeah, I went up. I went there Friday. I launched on the upper end. I don't know where the causeway is, but it's several coves to the east. And there's, I don't know, a bunch of people are crappie fishing up there, but there's some timber and rock and stuff. And I caught one largemouth up there on a Texas rig in like 10 foot of water. And fish get pretty hard with just a bunch of different stuff. Jerkbait, chatterbait, drop shot, and only caught that one fish, but then I caught a flathead and a drum too off the Texas rig. So whatever, that was pretty cool. Then I loaded up and went to the marina. I threw a jerkbait there, caught one off a jerkbait, and then one off of a drop shot, and that was it. And they weren't very big. So I loaded up and went home and was like, I have a choice, man. Where do I go? And I kind of slept on it, and I guess kind of knew that I was just wanting to go largemouth bass fishing. So I went up to the upper end. That's where I launched and caught my first fish at like 9 on a 3/4 ounce black and blue jig with a chunk trailer. And then my second fish came off a point in like 10 foot of water off of the same jig. And then the big fish came off of a beaver pile with a 1/2 ounce Texas rig with like a black and blue creature bait. And that was it. But I was like, man, I want to go largemouth bass fishing. But if I could get 5 fish, I was like, 5 of those fish are going to be bigger than 15 inches. Because it's like, it's free spawn, it's Melvern. I thought those fish might be moving up. And if I could just stumble on the 5, I only got 3 though. So I feel fortunate to be around the table right now.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate that. I know not everybody was at the award ceremony, but when you guys were like, did you like, oh, I got this? Did you guys feel like you had it? Did you think you were close? I know Clayton and Jay actually had a tie, and on that one, what do you think, Clayton? Were you pretty sure you locked it in, or did you have doubt?
I wasn't sure. Melvern's not as good as it used to be, but it still has some good fish in it, and I know that you can. The largemouth fishing's getting quite a bit better. There's a decent population of them now, and some pretty good sized ones. So, it was in the back of my mind that somebody could have stumbled onto a couple big largemouth, and you get a couple of those with a solid trio of smallmouth, and have a pretty good bag. So yeah, I definitely wasn't positive that I had won it.
Yeah, I got a good 16.5 inch. I was, I don't know, it was about 10 foot of water with the little Med rig, and I got a 16.5 inch largemouth, and I was like, that's not what I was expecting, because I was fishing off the rocks where I normally catch smallmouth, and I thought for sure it's a drum or something, right? And I was like, oh, that's a pretty nice largemouth. That just was not expecting it. Jay, what about you? Did you think you had it? Were you sure?
No, I was thinking maybe top three. If I would have had 85 or so, I would have felt a little more confident in a win.
Yeah.
Yeah. So closer than I've ever been there, so I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I think if anybody got 85, they could feel pretty confident. I think that's about, what I don't know if I've seen anything above 85 there.
I think there was something a couple years ago. Somebody was close to 90.
Wow.
I think it was Tim, wasn't it? Tim Seagraves.
Yeah, Tim or Cole, one or the other.
Oh, yeah.
That's something both of them could do. Danny, what about you? Do you think you were in the top?
I wasn't sure, honestly. I knew I didn't do enough to win, and I was pretty sure of that. But at that point, you just hope maybe to get in the money, So I was just pretty happy to hear my name called and get up there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
yeah. Sorry, Tony, go ahead.
Oh no, I was in fourth, and I was like, man, if I could just get one more out of. Oh, I think my smallest was a 14. I actually had two 14s on there, and I was at 79 and a half, and I was just like, I got to catch like a 16, 17, get me up there. But
just had to beat me.
I had to beat Tim. That was my only goal. Actually, my only goal was to get one of those really awesome trophies that Kevin made. That was my only goal. And also, secondly, was to have Tim actually interview me. That's my goal for this year. So
it'll be one less
make
podcast.
him interview me. He says he refuses to do that podcast, but
So I got a question that I just thought of.
Let me ask Ernesto first.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I guess you weren't at the ceremony, but would you? I know I think they texted you or something that you won Big Bass, and do you have any idea like you were going to win Big Bass?
I saw we had a tie, and then I didn't know how ties were handled. So, but it turns out I think somebody in the group posted the YouTube to the awards, and I watched it. And I was like, huh, sweet. Somebody texted me and said, hey, you won. I was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know how though, because I knew we had 18 3/4 was tied. So, but like I said, it was a nice pleasant surprise, man, because I only had 3 fish.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a paycheck too, to give you money for the next tournament.
Yeah,
that's always nice when you win a tournament early, and then like you get some money back in PayPal, then you can kind of use it for the next tournaments. It's kind of a nice thing to do. So yeah. I wanted to do a video of the award ceremony and put it out there. So I appreciate the shout out, because I'm glad you watched it, because I thought it was fun to do, and I thought that it gives people that weren't there an opportunity to see what we do at award ceremonies, and that they are fun. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think that's Doug. Is that Doug?
It's Doug.
Those are some awesome trophies for sure. Yeah, they really were. Tim, I think you had another question.
Yeah, so I just want to ask everybody around the room here, but Clayton, do you think there's like certain structure that holds just a little bit bigger fish that you're like, I know there's an 18 on that rock, or this may be a better, higher opportunity to catch a bigger fish on this certain area? Do you feel like one rock or stump holds a bigger fish than the next?
At Melvern, there definitely seems to be. It's kind of hard to describe, I guess, but I kind of call it like shelf rock. You can see it on certain parts of the lake where it sticks up out of the water.
Horizontal rock.
And it used to be under the water a lot, but it's just kind of really big flat rocks, and there's gaps in between it, and it's not like big drop-offs off of it or anything. But when you can find that in the water, the big smallmouth like to sit in that stuff out on that lake. I don't know. I guess it's just a really good ambush spot for them. But when the water's up and you can, I like to run bullshit over the top of it, but a spook works real good too. And I've caught so many big fish out of that type of rock. I mean, you can catch them off of anything out there, but those big big flat shelf rocks, and there's several spots around the lake that has them. But especially if the wind is blowing into them and kind of stirring the water up a little bit and making a mud line, they really get in that stuff a lot.
Very nice. Jay, what about yourself?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably with Clayton, I'm sure there's spots that hold bigger ones, but I don't know. Smallmouth moves so much, I can't ever figure them out anyway.
What about, let's just not say small, but largemouth? Have you found an area like, because I know at like Cedar Bluffs last year, that would you have like 95 inches? Did you find this certain tree held a bigger fish than or this certain area?
Really? That was, I think the big bass of the day I picked up just kind of on a random shoreline, and then the rest of them were coming off of points, just windblown points.
Yeah.
I mean, the point, I guess, held a bigger fish, but it wasn't this like a certain tree or anything.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's a spot I used to fish at Wilson that consistently had, 19s and 20s in it every time.
Yeah.
But that's dry now, so it don't matter.
Yeah, I noticed at the tournament, you'd be coming down a bank, you're like, there's a smallmouth there, and you throw out to it, and there'd be a smallmouth on that. Once you figure out that pattern, it was pretty fun. But Danny, what about yourself? Did you find any, like, not in particular Melvern, but just any lake where you like, may hold bigger fish, bigger largemouth or smallmouth, like a certain thing that stands out to you?
I just feel like when it comes to bigger fish, some baits just do a better job of catching bigger fish, and like Clayton was saying with Melvern, I think there's some rocky areas that are kind of unique that those bigger fish do hold to.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Ernesto, did you find a pattern of big fish? Like you're like, hey, there's a big fish,
I guess every time I fish in the spring, I always try to stay off the bank and try to fish water that's 10, 15, because that's where the bigger fish that'll push up eventually once they're ready to push up are going to be. So I guess around my time, and I'll throw a jig just because I know for me it just feels like a jig. The fish hit it harder, and every fish that you catch with a jig is just a decent fish.
Yeah.
Especially if you're throwing a jig out deep. But those fish that I caught on Saturday, there was 10 foot of water on one. One was in like 3 though, but it's a beaver pile. Like something it could just be it's just sitting there like it's picture perfect. They were supposed to be. In fact, I fished the beaver pile once through, didn't catch anything. I was like, that's stupid. Like, how is that even possible? And then I came back and cast it at it on the way back from a different angle, and that's when it bit. And I was like, I'm just snagged on one of the beaver sticks, and now my line started to swim. I was like, oh, okay, that's how it works.
The big drum.
Yeah.
Usually on my situation, but all right.
Yep.
Is that it for that segment, or do you want to move on, or you got anything else?
Yeah, I think that was about it. Thanks everybody. Giving out some juice to maybe some new timers and people like me that can always use it. I appreciate it. I think that was it for that. Tim's got a kind of a fun little question for you, so go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, Clayton, we'll start with you. If you only had one lure to fish for the next 5 years, you couldn't touch anything else. What would it be, and what color, and why? Let's say you got one fish, doesn't matter any body water. That's it. That's all you got. They don't make them anymore.
If I had to have one lure, it'd have to be a jig. There's just nothing that's more versatile. I don't think than a jig. I like fishing a jig more than anything else. I know nobody probably believes me because I fish
we don't know
so much, but no, if I can fish, if I can have a heavy rod and 20-pound test and a jig, that's a great day. If that's the only rod you need all day, then it's going to be a good day. But you can also, I've got them down to little 1/8 ounce jigs that you can fish on a spinning rod and finesse fish really easily. A swim jig that you can fish in place of a spinner bait or a chatterbait. Fishing quickly over the top of grass along the edge of a dock. I don't think there'd be anything better for an all-around bait than a jig.
Very nice. What color?
If I had to pick one color and just stick with it all the time, I'd probably go solid black.
Yeah.
Uh,
Muddy water, clear water. That's a good color.
just curious, do you have one of your homemade jigs right there, Clayton, handy?
I don't know.
Clayton makes, Ernesto, if you like throwing jigs and everybody else watching, but Clayton makes some really good jigs as well. They're, I love the hooks on them. So, yeah. So
That was one of my jigs I was fishing down there at the equipment that I caught that big bag on, and that was a combination silicone and living rubber jig. So it flares out really good while it's sitting down there on the bottom.
I love a jig, man. I love a jig.
is it CNC Custom Baits? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, check it out on Facebook. They're killer.
Yeah, and he has Clayton. You want to shout your YouTube channel real quick?
Blue Bastard 86.
Which that video is on there, so you'll see Melvern and that Texas trip that he had. So definitely check that out for sure.
Yeah, it's the one with the big bug-eyed bass for the thumbnail.
Very nice. Jay, how about yourself?
As much as
Big
I
five.
bug bait, I do like to catch fish year round or as much as possible. So probably Texas rig, game hog type or brush hog type bait.
Yeah.
Pretty versatile.
Any color in particular that you go to?
I don't know, like a California craw or something like that, kind of a black and green pumpkin laminate.
Okay.
Kind of works most waters.
Yeah. Perfect. Ernesto, what about yourself?
Well, Clayton said jig, so I want to say jig too.
Yeah,
but
that's fine.
I'll give an honorable mention. I'm stubborn, man. I'll throw a jerkbait all the damn time, like just until like I'll have it tied on from March till November, like. So it'll definitely have to be a jerkbait for me. But it sucks working over a long period of time. My wrists get tired, but
Yeah.
I like a jerkbait with some flash on it. I guess that's really my confidence. Anything, it's almost like a horizontal spoon is what it acts like. Like it's coming through the water and they're just seeing like flash. So anything with like some sheen, some silvery flash. That's my confidence bait. Aside from I like throwing Ned rigs and stuff, Ned rigs, drop shots, like finesse fishing and stuff. I just started to get into like the whole power fishing and stuff because the Bass Cup I fished, I swear every tournament was won on a Texas rig Senko. And I was like, dude, there's like, I can't compete. I'm trying to beat these guys with jackhammers and whatnot. And it's like, it's not working. I'm just getting worked over with a Senko. So I had to learn and it catches them.
Very nice. Danny?
I love me a jig, but I probably, if you said one bait for 5 years, it'd probably be a Cinco. I mean, you can just fish it so many different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are.
You can
they're all
Texas rig it. You can cut it in half and put it on a Ned. You can Carolina rig it. You can do so many things with it, And I think it's probably a more versatile bait in cold weather than people give it credit for, too.
What color would you use?
Probably just go with a green pumpkin.
I got another question for you, Danny. Since you live down there, do you think Big Hill's going to fish different later in the year than early in the year, like we fished it in the last 2 years in a row?
Oh yeah, definitely gonna be a whole lot different.
Yeah, got to be a little bit different pattern.
Should be a lot better, I think.
A lot better. Probably 95 inches.
Very well could.
Wow. Very nice. Yeah, I was just curious what you thought of Big Hill, and I'm sure you'll be fishing that one a little bit before we get there.
So Tim,
Yeah.
what bait would you use?
Me? I'm not going to say the one bait because I might be giving that one away that I like. But spinner bait,
Yeah.
I probably do. I've got so many fish on a spinner bait that it's not even funny. So, yeah.
For me, it would be a finesse jig, as long as I can have a trailer with it.
Yeah.
So, a little trailer to go on the back of it. I've caught a lot of big fish. It's been my go-to. Except last weekend, it was I think I caught one fish on a little finesse jig, but then everything else was pretty much a Ned rig. So
I mean, a Ned rig, you can catch fish all year round too, so that'd be a good second for sure.
yeah, that would be my second choice, just
I've
because I
caught
know
my
I
favorite
can catch
fish,
fish.
on spinners.
Yeah.
But yeah, dang guys, appreciate it. Hey, actually, let's do one more question.
Sure.
Clayton, what's the tournament you're looking for the most this year? Like, what's the one you're looking forward to the most? What lake were KK's fishing?
I'm looking forward to this next one quite a bit. And I'll just put it out there. I'm probably going to fish Pony just for the pure fact that I have never fished it before, and there's not a lot of lakes in Kansas that I have never fished before. So,
I think you'll like it.
that's
I hope he doesn't.
I can tell you this: it's very
I might
unique.
yeah, I might not. I mean, I've taken the day off, so I'm going to go up there and fish it a little bit beforehand. But I'm doing my catfish thing too, so I'm going to go out there and catfish because I know it's got monster catfish in it, and I like to catch my big catfish too. So, and that's why I would also say Milford, because I've taken 2 or 3 days off for Milford because I'm going to go out there and try to catch a big blue cat.
Nice.
That's always part of the excitement for me going out there. That's why the family and I are going out to Milford the weekend after this to go try to fish for big blues. So
Very nice.
those two would probably be the top of the list for me.
Yeah, I know that Pony has upwards of mid-20s on channel cats, like
Yeah.
25-pounders, 30-pound channel cat, like almost state records.
Yeah,
So-
I've seen some monsters on YouTube.
Yep.
Getting caught out there, so that'd be pretty cool if I could do that. I guess if I go up there Friday and it's just awful, then maybe I fall back to Lake Shawnee.
Yeah.
I know I can go catch fish there. I can't catch. I can catch them at Shawnee State Lake too, but that other lake's not nice to me.
Yeah, I had a 90-inch day there last year at Banner.
I know they're in there. It just I don't know. It's
10 minutes from my house, but man, it's rough. If it's off, it's off on that lake.
It's a weird lake to me.
It is.
I actually think that all 4 lakes have the potential of winning.
They do.
And that they're even, but they're different on different days. So it's differently. So it's actually kind of a unique perspective on like everybody's you could go pre-fish and then get skunked the next day, or vice versa, and it'll be definitely a toss-up for sure on that road.
I think that's kind of what I like about it the most. Is it's not some of our past road runners. It's not that I didn't like them. I enjoyed them still, but there was just a couple lakes where realistically you could win at. When it was the last one, the state lake tournament, there's only a couple state lakes that you realistically have a chance to go and catch a good limit. I'm not going to go to Leavenworth State Lake and catch a big limit of fish. They're just not there. But they're in these 4 lakes. Or when Mound City was on the list 2 years ago, that's where everybody was, because everybody knew that was the only lake. If you were going to win, that's where you had to go. But this year, I've caught 20-pound bags out of Shawnee State Lake. I know they're in there.
Yeah.
At Lake Shawnee, you could go catch 90 inches of smallmouth out of Lake Shawnee.
Yeah.
Banner, they're in there. I don't know how to catch them, but they're in there. I've heard they're in Pony. And I guess we'll find out.
If 20 people show up at Pony, it's going to be an interesting day. I can tell you that.
Oh yeah,
It's
and
gonna
Pony seems like it gets a lot of boat traffic too,
It
so
does. It does.
it'll
It really does.
probably be pretty crowded.
Yeah.
Which that's that's part of the strategy. If everybody just goes up there and eats themselves because there's so much traffic, then somebody who goes to Shawnee State Lake or Banner maybe walks away with it because they went to the lake that wasn't pressured.
I went up there last year to Pony, and it's about 50 minutes from my house. And they had a tournament the day before, and I literally couldn't buy a bite. The water was like a tannic looking color. And I'm like, oh man, I'm going to pull like 86 inches at nothing. I didn't have a single bite. And I'm like, okay, well, if it looks like that when I show up in the morning, if I go there, I'm done. I'm not going back. I'll go to Shawnee North State Fishing Lake or something. But yeah. So, Jay, what about yourself? Any you're looking forward to?
The next one sounds like a fun one. I
Yeah.
was planning, or maybe still am planning, to go to Pony.
Yeah.
Did once probably 5 years ago and really liked it.
Yeah.
But I haven't been back since. And other than that, I'd say Big Hill. I miss fishing. I fished a lot of spring and summer tournaments at Big Hill, and I always liked those.
Was it 2 years ago you pulled like a 20 out of there?
Out of at Big Hill?
Big Hill, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've caught several 20s there through the years.
Very nice.
I think that'll be a good time of year at Big Hill.
Ernesto, is there anyone you're looking forward to? You fishing any more with us, or?
Yeah, I've got a tournament tomorrow at Lion State Fishing Lake. So
Very nice.
that in the short term, that's happened, or not tomorrow, Saturday. My day's confused. And then plan on fishing the next tournament with KK. I was gonna go to Pony too, but I don't know.
Everybody go to Pony.
There's only
You
one.
know,
I'll take
dude,
Lake
Pony's nice, but it's not that big. And if everyone goes, but yeah. And then I only have like one I gotta miss with you guys, but I think every date where a tournament is happening, I'm available and stuff. So it's just, I don't know, it's just a great weekend of fishing, because if you pre-fish on Friday, then you get Saturday, and you get your Sunday, like it's just a good time. So plan on fishing most of them.
Very nice. Danny, what about yourself?
I can't say I have any in particular I'm looking forward to. I hate that I'm gonna miss the next one, but can't be in two places at one time, so there's that.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right. Well, Tony, you want to take it away? We kind of close here and let everybody go back to their lives.
I'm looking forward to Wilson, I think, but I'm also really debating about the next one, where to go. So, because Shawnee Lake's only like 6 minutes from my house, so if I wake up late, that's definitely where I'm going.
You actually fished it, what, 2 nights ago?
Yeah, and I only caught like 12 inchers. So, but yeah. So I thank you guys so much for coming on the show.
Yeah.
Glad you all could make it. It's great meeting you for the first time, Ernesto. It's great having you back, Danny, Clayton, Jay. Thanks for coming on. Thanks to Tim, my co-host.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah. It's always fun. I hope everybody else enjoyed it. We'll be doing another one. I think the next one will be after the North 35 shootout, which I think is May 8th. I want to say it's a Thursday night. So if you want your chance to be on our show, you're gonna have to win or at least get top 3 May 8th. Oh, one more thing. I do want to add that we just secured another sponsor for Kansas Kayak Anglers. It's just a discount sponsor. Anybody that's going to be looking for a kayak cushion, we're going to get a 15% off on kayak cushions. I'm going to make a post on the KKA page sometime in the next few days, along with some other stuff with the new AOI, ROI stuff. But a shout out to Kansas Kayak Anglers for putting on a good tournament. I thought Melbourne was a great tournament, and definitely a shout out again to Melvern Lake Marina for who sponsored us, gave us a little bit bigger payouts, fed us all, gave us a place to have the award ceremony. I think that was the funnest one I've been to in a while. So
yeah, that was super nice. I like how they did that.
Yeah. He's like, call me every year. Like, well, maybe we'll start having 2 tournaments here. No.
We invite him to the next one too.
Yeah. But great guy over there, Eric and Jamie at Melvern Lake Marina, and like I said, watch the next month. We'll see if we have any special editions in between. And if you guys have any questions about KK stuff or anything like that, you can send us messages to the KKA page and the admin there. You can always talk. I actually had like 3 or 4 different people reach out to me directly. That was cool too. Ask me questions about the tournament and stuff. I'm more than happy to help anytime anybody has questions. And if I don't know the answer, I'll try to find somebody that does. And yeah, so send us a message if you got any questions. And I think that's about it. Thanks, everybody. Tim, do you have anything else to add?
Nope. What questions you could ask me next month for the tournament when I win it?
Yeah, that was our goal, brotherly competition. We
Down to the 0. I've just jinxed
yeah.
myself.
So I found out he was holding out on me. He was sandbagging a little bit, and then I came back and called 3 fish in the last 30 minutes to beat him. So I don't think he liked that too much.
I held back 216 and a half just to beat him, and then he freaking comes out and pulls those out.
Yeah, and I was like pretty much right in front of him.
It was
We were
rough.
on the same
Nice.
place. Yeah, we drive each other. It's good brotherly competition. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end. Thanks everybody for watching, and you guys
All right.
can stay on for a second if you
Later.
want to.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. You're welcome. You can stay on if you want for a little bit.
I guess that was enough.